Hey everyone, and welcome to Set Yourself Free podcast, where we explore stories of resilience, transformation, and reclaiming your life after adversity. But listen, y'all, come right in and join me. I invite you all to come in and join me in my Metaverse studio. And how you get there, you go to setyourselffree.io and click the button for the podcast right at the top. So, without further ado, let me introduce you guys to my AI motion words that's going to tell you a little bit more about the podcast.
Are you ready to break free from life's chains? Welcome to the Set Yourself Free podcast, now live in the metaverse. Discover powerful strategies to overcome challenges, boost your confidence, and unlock your full potential. From conquering the fear of success to managing holiday blues, we've got you covered. Learn how to let go of emotional baggage, practice proactive crisis management, and celebrate yourself with positive affirmations. Join us on this transformative journey and discover the freedom within you. Set Yourself Free, your guide to a happier, healthier you. Visit our Metaverse studio today and start your liberation.
All right, guys. Listen, we are going to have a phenomenal show today. Today we are honored to welcome Miss Tracey Jefferson. She is a life coach, a speaker, an educator on domestic violence. Tracey is the inspiring author of Suffering in Silence, and it's
Welcome to Set Yourself Free Life Coaching. We guide women who are overwhelmed with being emotionally stuck to get unstuck so they can reach new heights of their full potential. We believe that everyone has the power to create the life they desire, but sometimes we need a little help along the way. That's where we come in. We provide personalized coaching and support to help you overcome your obstacles and achieve your goals. Our coaching program is based on the principles of positive thinking and self-empowerment. We believe that by changing your mindset, you can change your life. We will teach you how to identify and challenge your negative thoughts and replace them with positive ones. We will also help you develop a strong sense of self-worth and confidence. Together, we will create a personalized plan to help you reach your goals. We will work with you on your specific challenges and provide you with the support and motivation you need to succeed. If you are ready to break free from the past and create the life you deserve, then contact us today. We would be honored to help you on your journey.
You're ready. Hello, Cleo.
Hey guys, today we are honored to welcome Tracey Jefferson, a life coach, speaker, and educator on domestic violence. Tracey is the inspiring author of Suffering in Silence and its accompanying journal, as well as her heartfelt new book, The Guilt I Carried, The Love for a Sister Battling Pancreatic Cancer. Miss Tracey experienced domestic violence throughout her 6-year marriage. She was protected and survived only by the grace of God. Prior to the finalization of her divorce, God created in her a new heart of compassion, which led to her domestic violence advocacy work. Hey S.I.S, Suffering in Silence Life Coaching Services LLC was birthed and is her latest endeavor to serve women, men, and teens to help them be transparent, not ashamed, and no longer suffer in silence, helping them to embrace their truth and reclaim their power. She is also the mother to an adult son who resides in Maryland. He is the love of her life. So listen, guys, let's get ready to be inspired by her incredible journey. her unwavering faith, and her mission to help bring hope and healing to those who need it. First, let's dive in. Welcome, Miss Tracey Jefferson.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for that introduction, Miss Cleo. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast today.
Thank you. And thank you for making the time to be here. I know we are about to unpack a lot of stuff that is going to be helpful for a lot of people listening out there. So let me begin by saying your story is a powerful story. It's incredible. And it shows a lot of resilience. So can you share the turning point in your life that inspired you to leave your abusive marriage and begin your journey as an advocate for domestic violence?
Well, I think it started with the love that I have for my son.
Mm.
I wasn't strong enough originally to leave, but the fact that me and my son had got into an argument and he came short of calling me stupid. And once I looked at him, I saw the disgust in his eyes towards me. And, I guess he couldn't figure out why was I still staying in this situation. And I actually had to ask myself, yeah, why am I staying? Because he didn't bring anything to the table, so to speak. So when I looked at my son, that's when I realized, he did not ask to be in this situation. I brought the monster into the house. So then that made me have to, really reassess everything. So once I did that, and I love my son. And even though, this happened years ago, my baby be almost 40. I guess I shouldn't call him baby, but he probably won't hear this right now anyway. But when I think of him, and that just gave me the courage to do what I had to do, which was to get us out safely.
Awesome. And, when I hear you speak, I hear you talk a lot about self-reflection. And that sounds like, that was part of the journey, the process, having that self reflection. And you mentioned that God gave you a heart of compassion during a very difficult time. So tell me, how has your faith shaped your approach to healing and helping others?
Woo. Okay, so during that time, I had what the scriptures call a heart of stone. I
Hmm.
was I was mean, I was cruel, I was very demanding and demeaning at the same time. So I didn't tolerate a lot of things, but I do believe it stemmed from just the hurt that I endured. So when you're hurt, you kind of, put up a wall.
Right.
So once I realized the heart that I had, when I looked at my son, and then when I put myself, even though I was being abused, I really thought of other people. And I'm like, anybody else going through this? Because I didn't know anybody else that was suffering in silence. I didn't know anybody that was
Right.
being abused. So, so it really made me cry. And when
Mm.
I had never cried like this, that to my bones was hurting. And I
Uh,
didn't understand what I was going through. And I'm like, Lord, what is happening? And that's when my heart started changing.
mm.
And I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy.
Right.
I hope I don't have any enemies, but if I did, I really wouldn't want anyone to suffer being abused by anybody, because it's
Mhm.
very degrading, and you have a very low self-esteem. And even though I had a haughty attitude, I was very insecure also at the same time. So I had a lot of emotions. I had a lot of, damage going on inside of me. So once I realized I didn't want anyone else to go through this, that's when my heart started changing. Then I really started reading my Bible more. I really
Mm.
started trying to figure out how did I get here? And once I, started going through that, Cleo, that's when I realized, oh, I need to start doing something. But it took me a while to start doing something because I had a lot of work to do. You can't help anybody if you still kind of damaged yourself.
Right,
So
that part.
yes. So when I was going through my divorce, I didn't date anyone. I didn't, I was just really focused. And this was I had laser focus. I was really trying to figure out, where did my anger come from? Because I was really angry before I got married, but I used that as an excuse. So I had to peel all the layers, all the onion that was in me. I had to peel it all off and just get down to Tracey Jefferson.
Right.
And once I did that, Cleo, now, I can stand before you today and I'm so proud of myself. Now, I could never say that before, but I absolutely I love who I am. I love what I've become and I love what I do. And I never could say that before. So it took me putting myself in someone else's shoes to realize, no, this is not right. And no, I don't want to be like this anymore.
Wow, the courage to help someone else help to set you free. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Like that just blows my mind, that it came from outside, but now you were able to help yourself and take those steps. That's incredible. So tell me, right? So you went through this journey and you ended up writing a book and in a journal that goes along with it. So
Yes.
tell me about how and writing is makes you vulnerable, right? Because you're
Hmm.
putting all your stuff out there.
Yes.
And yeah, so tell me like what motivated you to write Suffering in Silence and the journal? Like what
Um,
motivated you to do that?
the fact that I didn't want anyone else to go through it. And then I'm gonna talk backwards. I'm gonna start with the journal first.
Okay.
Um, during the time, and this was it's been a long time ago, Cleo. I got divorced in 2002.
Okay.
So during that time, okay, so the bombing took place. Everybody knows where they were when 9/11 hit. So when
Right.
9/11 hit, I was actually at the doctor's office because he had punched me in my face, in my head so hard that I had a knot on the side of the left side of my head. So I was at the doctor's office getting my head examined. so, so when I was having a X-ray because
Right.
my head was still hurting, even though the it had been like about a week, but my head was still hurting. And all I could think of is I had a sister that passed away from an aneurysm. So I thought the fact that
Mm.
he hit me in my head so hard that, you know, um, I thought maybe it had done something to my brain or, whatever, because my head kept hurting. So when I'm at the doctor's office, the nurse had asked me, she said, well, where are you going once you leave here? I said, I'm going to work. She said, where you work? I said, in DC. She said, well, DC is shut down. I'm like, how is DC shut down, lady? And I started laughing because I'm like, how in the world is DC shut down? So she said, you haven't seen the news? And I was like, no. So when she turned the TV around, it was like I was watching a movie, but it was in New York. And people were jumping out the building. And, so wow, I was blown away. So when I got home, um, that day, I got on my knees and I started praying and I said, God, please help these people. And so anyway, long story short, I didn't go to work. I kept calling my job. They, wasn't answering. Then I had a niece that worked not too far from where I worked in DC. And she said, Tracy, don't come up here because there's a lot going on. Then the second bomb hit in Virginia, which was like almost like across the water from where I worked in DC. So the
Right.
Pentagon. So the fact that the Pentagon was hit, then that made us off work the very next day. So they told us to stay home. That particular day, the very next day, was when I got the courage to go to the courthouse and get him out of my house. So
Mhm.
someone had told me about an ex parte. I had never heard of all these terms. I didn't even know where the court building was. So a lot of stuff was so foreign. So long story short, once I got the ex parte, I started hearing God tell me, now put this in paper, put this all on paper. All of the things that I was going through, which was so foreign to me because I didn't know anything about the court system. I didn't know anything it was just so much that I did not know. So I
Mhm.
started like journaling. I started writing things down. And then so anyway, they came to remove him from my home. And that night I didn't get any sleep. So as I was up, because I expected him to try to come back and, you know, do some damage, bust my windows or whatever. So I was just up writing. And in the middle of the night, um, the Lord just started giving me things to write. And the
Mm.
things that he gave me to write was questions about how did I get here? So the
Right.
questions was the questions that I put in my journal. So that's why I say I have to talk backwards to go forward. I started the journal first, but I
Wow.
didn't know it was going to be a book. And then because I was still kind of embarrassed to tell anybody. So I thought they was just my journal writings. I was just writing down, and then I answered each one of my questions. And by the time I did that, it was really like over 50 questions, but the journal itself just has about 50. So as I started writing the book, and I got that idea from another person, and she said, "You should write a book." And I was like, "On what?" She said, "All that you went through." And I said, "Well, I think that was just me personally. I didn't think it would be needed because, like I said, I didn't know anyone that was, being abused." So again, I just started writing. So I found this lady to read. She said, "Oh my God, girl." She said, "You need to add more," because I think the book was like 10 pages. That was the whole book. And she said, "No." She said, "So what I need you to do is, give us a scenery. Give us, what were you doing? What room was it in?" So she, encouraged me to, she said, "It's good." She said, "But I need more than 10 pages." So that's how the book came about. So
Wow.
it was sort of like backwards to come forward, if that makes sense, if it makes sense at all.
Yes.
And
Yes.
look, and I'm
Yes.
sorry to be so long-winded, but that's how it all
No.
came about.
No, I thank you for you sharing, being transparent, being open, because as you said, getting help or living through that experience, you go through periods of shame and guilt and embarrassment, and you don't know what to do. So by you sharing this, someone out there listening who is experiencing that shame and guilt right now, that gives them strength and courage. So yeah, definitely continue to expound on that. So we can connect with people who really need the help. And I go back to, the silence, the shame that you experience as a victim.
Mhm.
Why do you think, or what do you think are the barriers to people seeking help, and how does HASIS coaching services, life coaching services, address those barriers?
Um, well, first, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. And I could say that coming
Yeah,
from someone that was embarrassed. Um,
right.
you you really don't know who you're going to help just
Right.
coming out telling your story.
Mhm.
And the barriers come from pride.
Mhm.
That's a barrier because I was a type, like I said, I was a type of person that I had a haughty attitude. I dressed to the nine, always had the best of everything. and would turn my nose up at a person that, didn't quite look. And I'm being completely honest, that's how I was. Um,
Right.
I, my son's dad, yeah, my son's dad, he used to always say I was like a rich little black girl. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you don't, because I was, you know, I did kind of like have it all at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have a lot of things or stuff, you really think you've arrived until
Mm-hmm.
you lose it all. Then when you lose it all, you're like, you know what? It was just stuff. And but you still put up a facade. So some of
Right.
the barriers of the embarrassment is the facade that we walk around with every day.
Mm,
Several years ago, we wore those masks. That's what we do. We wear masks. Even though we might
that's
not
right.
have the physical mask on our face, but we mask it in other ways. And I had a big mask, but what I do with Hey S.I.S, I don't come to me raw. Come to me
Yes.
as transparent as you possibly can, because that's the only way you're going to succeed or win the battle over any type of shame that you have. Face it head on. I always tell people, can't nobody blackmail me, because you know what? I tell my story before anybody else will. You ain't gonna get a dime out of Tracy, because with anything you think you going to get over me, I'm gonna put it out there for the whole world. I'm not ashamed anymore. Whereas I used to be ashamed to even tell people. The way me and you talking now, I would only tell you and say, don't say it, don't tell nobody. But yeah, I would be that type of person, very
Right.
afraid of people knowing. And that's only because I was so prideful. But when you trying to help people, all that has to fall by the wayside. You can't be a proud person and trying to help somebody at the same time. So
Right.
I really have the ladies, I always want them to, just be completely honest. When I still work at a shelter, I would sit and have conversations with the ladies and tell them, you know, just talk to me. Talk to me. It's like I'm your mama, because, I probably am old enough to be your mama, but but I want them to be comfortable with me. And that way, when you're comfortable opening up to me, a complete stranger, then you're comfortable opening up to your neighbor, your friend, because you don't know who's hurting.
Right.
So
Right.
I try to tell them to, you know, put any emotion that you have, put it down. I let them cry and let them get it out, because once you cry, that makes you feel better. And then sometimes they're very open and, to ready to be talking about what they went through. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, because somebody's story is worse than yours.
Right. Right. And sharing your story, as you said, can help someone else.
Yes, ma'am.
So I got another question for you. I know, like we're talking about the victim, but you in your coaching program, you also work with children, teens, and so your advocacy extends to men and teens as well. And talk about how and why it's important to have these groups as part of the conversation when addressing domestic violence.
Okay, it's important because we need to stop repeating the cycle.
Yeah.
So when the kids are very near and dear, even though the mother or whoever the abused person, they're near and dear to me too. But the children are the most innocent, because for one thing, we as the parent, we bringing them into the child's environment. The child was already
Mhm.
here.
Right.
So we're bringing these people to disrupt what these kids already have.
Mhm.
Sometimes the home is already unbalanced just with the mom and the child, and then you bring in a third person that's more chaotic,
Mhm.
and the children are truly suffering also, and
Right.
no one is looking at these kids. The kids are going to school most of the time they're bullying other people because they don't have a say at home. Somebody
Right.
is bullying them, or excuse me for saying, maybe molesting them, or they're hurting them in some type of way, that
Right.
when they get to school, they're lashing out at the teachers and other students because
Mm-hmm.
they don't have that authority at home. So I love working with the children because they very honest. I don't care how loud and vocal they are. They're going to come honest. They're
They
going to
gonna tell you
embarrass,
like it is.
girl, they're going to embarrass you to no end. Oh
I
my
know.
God.
They have no
But
filter. They just say whatever it is.
yes, and it's
Yes.
good and it's bad, but we have to teach them. There's a time and a place to be very open and honest like that. To embarrass
Right.
someone, no, it's never, that's never the environment. So when I'm teaching the kids in the program that I have, I even tell the kids, don't, this is a chance for you to be completely honest, because I have questionnaires for the parents and questions for the kids. And I'll tell the
Right.
kids, this is not a time to bash your parent, but this is a time to help them, because there's not a rule book to teach us parents how to be parents. Just like
Right.
there's no book to tell a kid how to be a kid. We
Right.
teach them these things. So when the kids come in, listen to them, even
Right.
though they might be saying things you might not want to hear, because the truth does hurt. But we
Mm-hmm.
have to listen to our kids.
Yeah.
And if a
And I think you.
kid doesn't, I'm
No, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry.
If a kid doesn't like your mate, find out why they don't like them,
Mm.
because they see things that we don't see, and we need to pay attention to that.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree. I mean, I think the thing that you brought up the most is not being afraid to have an open line of communication with your kids where they can
Hmm.
be honest with you about their feelings and their life, because like you said, you're not the only one going through the process, right? The kids are going through
Right.
it too, and they have
Hmm.
feelings about it. And sometimes, when you're in those situations, you're so wrapped up in your own experience that you forget
Hmm.
about the child's experience and what that
Exactly.
lived experience is like for them. So creating that space where they too can heal is important. I love that, you include kids, and getting them to be a part of the conversation and part of the healing process. That's
Yes.
that's amazing. Yeah,
Because
I'm
we want
telling you,
them
like
to
a lot.
grow we
Go
want
ahead.
them, sorry, Cleo, but we want them to grow up to be respected, and mentor other people. They'll be able to see another, another kid as they go through it. They'll be able to see that look on another kid's face, and then they're gonna be remembering, oh, let me help this, because I went through this, before too. So then they can help their next classmate. It's going to,
Right,
the cycle can continue on the healing journey, not the bullying part, because it's
right,
easy to be a bully, but it's hard to shake your hand and lift somebody else up. We need more of that, because we're falling by the wayside as a society right now. So,
tell me about it. Okay. We
yeah,
surely are, but that's a whole nother story for
I
another
know
show.
that's another podcast.
I know that's right. That's a whole other podcast. Oh my goodness. So let's talk. Tell me about a success story that has happened for you in your coaching business that has stuck for you with one of the people you've been working with.
Well, one of the people I still talk to today, even though she doesn't pay me anymore, she still keeps in touch with me. And
Right.
she was really, and I'm gonna be real honest, I almost thought that her issues was beyond my help.
Right.
But hey, I mean, you talk to a person, I love a challenge. So I listened to her, and I'm like, you know what? I said, oh, so when we first started, we just started off just me listening to her and not really offering any type of help. I just wanted to hear her
Right.
because um, a lot of her issues were like past things. And as a life coach, we don't work in the past. We get you to the
Right.
future. So
Right.
so that's why I thought, it would be over my head and I really wasn't going to try to, help her. But the humanity part kicked in and I would listen to her and I would just be like, you know what? I said, why do why you keep talking about, what happened when you were a teenager? I
Mm-hmm.
said, you're in your 40s now. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Right.
Why do you keep thinking back? Why do you keep bringing up? And I said, when are you going to forgive your parents?
Right.
When are you going to forgive your brother? When you go, so as I started talking to her, um, she started crying and I was like, wait a minute. I said, what's going on? I said, hey, because she was talking and talking and talking. And so I stopped her. I said, hey, let me ask you a question. I got a couple of questions. Let me ask you. So as I'm asking her these questions, I didn't realize she was crying because she let out this loud noise. And
Right.
I'm like, what is going on? And she,
Mm.
and girl, my heart just sank because she said that she never thought about forgiving them. She just wanted to keep um, talking about what what they did. Well, they did it a long time ago, and
Right.
now you're in your 40s.
Mm-hmm.
That happened in like I think like the 70s or 80s. We're in 2000, and so
Yeah.
do you know how many people are still holding those old hurts? So as
Yes.
I was talking to her, um, now to bring it to date, she'll call me and she'll say, Miss Tracy, where you see yourself in 5 years? I said, girl, get off my phone. So we laughed. So,
That is too
but
funny.
yes, but she is so happy now. She didn't
Right.
realize how bad she was stuck. And I told her,
Right.
I said, friend, I said, do you know how many people are stuck like that?
Right.
So she's like a success story to me because we can laugh about it now. She's
Right.
doing very well. She's married and she doesn't have any kids or anything, but she is really doing good. And she has good and bad days. So when she's
Right.
having one of those bad days, she'll call me and I say, no, I said, you talk to me like you're my life coach. So I kind of make her come around and then she be like, yeah, you're right. So she pulls herself out of her funk that she's in.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, so that makes me happy when, as soon as I see her call, when I see her name, I just smile because I'm like, oh Lord, what about the encounter now? So sometimes I don't even say hello. I'm like, what do you want? And we just laugh.
That is too funny. That is
Yeah,
too
but it's amazing how so many people are still stuck in their past. They're reliving the old hurts that they've
right.
had, and let it
Right.
go. Some people have died that have hurt you,
Right.
so
Right.
let it go.
And it's not only that, it's destructive to others, right? When we hold
Hmm.
on to past hurt, we are passing that on to other people, and that hurt has the potential to hurt many people and be
Yes.
dangerous, very,
Hmm.
very dangerous. So it's important to
Exactly.
heal what's going on with you so you don't spread it on to others, and that pain just continues on and on and on, extendedly, and not really any good for anybody involved.
Exactly. It
Um,
has to stop. It has to stop, and let it
yes,
start with you. Just stop it with you, and then maybe you can help your family. Once you get out of it, then you can go back and say, "Hey, mom, I'm sorry." We have to start apologizing. even and I'm 62 years old, I still apologize to my mom to this day because certain things, transpire in my mind. And I can remember being rude to my mother for something. And I'm like, Mom, you know what? I remember that. It's things that'll just come back to me so vivid. And I'll be like, oh my God, I remember stealing 2 quarters out my mom's change. And and I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry I took that 50 cent. And all I did was went
Right.
and bought some now laters and some squirrel nuts. I could have, she if I would have asked her for it, she probably would have just gave them to me. But I stole them. I took them.
Right.
So, we just, we have to apologize for things that we've done because sometimes it's not always the parents. It's things that we've done too that brought on, on ourselves. But with her, I was so grateful that she is a lot better because, like I said, I thought she needed to go to like a counselor or something because she was always bringing up old stuff. And now
Right.
she's good. She doesn't
Yeah.
even talk about it. She told me one day, she said, it don't even seem like that was me. And I said, good. I said, because your heart is healed. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes, I love that. I love that you took it to the place of forgiveness, and someone in the comments said it's like, not forgiving people and holding on to resentment. It's like drinking poison and hoping it's gonna hurt them. And it's not. It's not gonna hurt them. And we have to get to the point of understanding that forgiveness is not a bad thing. When we
Right.
forgive people, it sets us free,
Exactly.
it's from the bondage of that hurt and that pain that's keeping us down and in hatred, in anger, in fear,
Mm-hmm.
depression. I mean, you name it. There's nothing good
Mm-hmm.
there. And
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
how Right. And I love how you got her to take it to the present and the future. Like where do you see yourself as you continue to do to hold on to this pain? What would it be like if you let this stuff go? Just
Mm-hmm.
offering that hope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't believe she would have gotten married because she was such a bitter person. And that stuff is like
Right.
weights on us. It carries,
Mhm.
you could see it on your face sometimes. You could see the hurt and the bitterness or the anger. You could see it in people's eyes, or you could just be smiling at somebody and they're like, what you smiling for? I'm like, well, dang, because I'm happy. That's why I'm smiling. So,
Right.
certain things just like weights and they are take them off. You don't need them. Some people, we are we are so beautiful if we just really think of ourselves, because some people, you have a good heart,
Mhm.
you always considerate, you're always doing things for other people,
Right.
but we don't ever take the time to look at ourselves like that.
Mhm.
We always look at the negative part of us. And if we go
Right.
around doing that, we're going to be in an early grave because it's too much to handle. It's honestly,
Right.
if you stop looking at what you're not and look at what you are, what you can be, then that you can sleep good at night. Whatever happened, it's over with. Now we
Right.
just have to move forward. And if do you think I will be the person I am if I let the fact that my ex-husband controlled me, or my mindset, if I hadn't changed my heart and my mind, me and you wouldn't even have met.
Right. Right.
So look at all the
Wow.
good that can come out of you just letting that bondage go. And look at
Yes.
how successful you can be because your story, it might not help me, but it's one person out there that is going to help.
Right.
And if you help that one person, your job is done. You've done just what you've came to do. Like people have, I had a lady, now I wrote the first book. I think that book came out in 2018. I had someone to
Mhm.
call me just several months, even though it was 2024. She called me, it was her, a matter of fact, I called her for her birthday. And she told me, she said, do you know, I've read your book again and it actually helped me. She was dating this guy and she saw signs because she read my book again. And I'm like, wow.
Right.
So
Right.
I thanked her. I was like, thank you. I really appreciate that. So you just don't know who you're going to help by
Mhm.
telling your story.
Right. And that's the thing about putting it in a book, the help live on, right? It lives on. The pearls, the wisdom that you share, it lives on. That, like you said, somebody can pick it up later on and reread it, and it might be just that time to read it to help you navigate through something. So yeah, tell your story, whether you write it, whether you speak it, write it through a song, tell a story, put it out there, like you said.
Exactly, because somebody
Yeah,
needs it. It's not
somebody.
in vain. What you've gone through is not just for you, it's for somebody else. So keep that in
Right.
mind when you're suffering in silence. Keep that in mind. You are here to help somebody. You just got to find that somebody.
And they waiting for you. So
Right.
tell your story because they might gravitate to you just by hearing it, right?
Exactly.
Well, Miss Tracy, I mean, I love conversing with you. You know that. And I thank you so much for sharing with us today because, it's this conversation is much needed. And I do want to ask you a little bit, though, about your latest book, The Guilt I Carried, The Love for a Sister Battling Pancreatic Cancer. Tell me a little bit
Mhm.
about that, or tell us
Now,
a little bit.
now that's actually a part two to suffering in silence, because even though I was being abused by my ex-husband, I
Mm.
was also being abused by my sister.
Oh,
My
wow.
sister, when my mom passed away in 95, and
Mhm.
unbeknownst to me, mama had left everything to me. And I'm the baby of the
Mhm.
family. She was the oldest. And
Right.
she felt that she should be controlling mother's things. Well,
Right.
mama didn't leave it like that. So, and I didn't know my mother had done that. So my sister was, ooh, when I tell you now, my husband was physically, mentally, financially abusive. My sister was emotionally, and then she had my other family members turn against me. So during the time of me going through with my husband, I really didn't have anybody but God and my son. And then he was even mad with me sometimes. Um, so my sister was really real mean. Now she was the mean that I used to be. She was to me. She was mean to me. And she did a lot of things. So anyway, long story short, you know, like I said, I had a changed heart. So we would talk, but we wasn't talking like we used to talk. And then one
Right.
day, it was Father's Day. My brother had called me and said that my sister was in the hospital. I had just came home from church. I'm like, what? So I rushed up to the hospital, and so the very next day, her test results came back, and they said she had pancreatic cancer. And I'm like, oh my God. Now I knew two people that had it, and I knew it was fatal. So
Right.
so that just like broke my heart that
Mhm.
my sister was battling this. But that was and I'm gonna go ahead and whether people buy the book or not, I don't even care. That was the best thing that ever happened to both of us, because she was able to ask me to forgive her for all the things
Mhm.
that she had done. And she knew she had done some stuff.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
and I had told her, I was so honored to forgive her, because I had forgiven her a long time ago, because, what she was mad at the wrong person. She was mad at me. She was mad at my mom, but she took it out on me. And
Right.
like I told her, I had no clue that my mother had done that. So anyway, she's sick, and um, I was at her. I never left my sister's side. I took care of her from the time she came home from the hospital to the time she passed away. And she has a daughter. My niece is mentally challenged, and she was so worried about her niece, and I mean about her daughter. And I told her, I said, Jan, I said, I got her. I said, I'm gonna take care of her. And this is
Right.
2025, and I still take care of my niece. And she is so my sister, she suffered a lot. Pancreatic cancer was really painful for her. So I would
Mhm.
bathe her. I would pack my clothes for the week and I would stay at her apartment every day. I would take my niece to daycare so she can get to her school. I would come back, get off work, cook dinner, clean them up. I was taking care of two households. I would come back to my house on Fridays because my other sister would come on the weekends. Then I would go home, get some rest, wash clothes, do whatever I had to do at my house, and then start all
Right.
over. And so yeah, so even though she was, really, really mean and cruel, it just God allowed us to come together. And in
Right.
that book, I tell people to stop wasting time because
Yeah.
we don't know when we're going to die. And
Mhm.
when I was younger, I used to idolize my sister because she was real flashy. She used to dress really, really nice, and she would drive this. We used to call it a deuce and a quarter. It was an electric 225. It was blue with a black convertible top. So when I saw my sister, she was just the epitome. I thought she was such a model because she looked really good, and I used to look up to her. And but then she got married, and her husband cheated, and so her heart. I watched her heart grow bitter every year,
Right.
like bitter. She was just real mean, real bitter, and but it softened once she got sick. And then the sad part about it is just that I hated the fact that she did not really get to enjoy us as sisters because we spent
Mhm.
so many years apart that it wasn't until she got sick that she realized how sincere, and I'm not even trying to like pat myself on the back, but when I love people, when I love my family, when I have friends, I really love them and I go all out and do whatever I got to do for them. So
Right.
she saw that at the end, and she was grateful um, for me. She actually wanted me to be the decision maker for her, and I was like, I said, "Are you sure?" I'm like me, and she said, "Yeah." So so that spoke volumes to me.
Right.
And she would wake up in the middle of the night. I'm laying on the couch sleep, knowing I got a big king size bed at my house, but I'm sleeping on her couch Monday through Thursday, and really like Sunday because I would come Sunday evening. So from Sundays to Thursday, I'm sleeping on the couch. But we had the best talks during those times. And she would
Mhm.
wake up middle of the night, go to the bathroom, and then she'd say, "Hey, Tracy, you sleep?" I'm like, "Not now." And you waking her sister up. And so we'll sit, Cleo, we will be talking maybe like one morning we talked and my alarm went off. She said, "What is that?" I said, "My alarm." She said, I used to get up at 5 o'clock. She said, "We talked all night long."
Wow.
And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I said, "That's okay." I said, "We needed that." So
Mhm.
I got up, got my shower, got my niece up, got her ready. My sister went on back to sleep, and but even to this day, I cherish that because
Mhm.
she was the oldest and I was the youngest, and I was honored to take care of her. So
Right.
yeah, I just wish people don't waste time with their loved ones because you don't know how long we have on this earth. And she wasted, well, I'm gonna say she wasted, we both wasted a lot of time being
Right.
angry at each other. And but it took her illness before she could um, forgive my mother and forgive me and be sisters again. So that's that story.
Well, I will say this. Your story is filled with not only pain, but courage and the strength it takes to overcome. And not only the strength of doing the work, doing that self-reflection, as you said, but also having the heart to forgive. And you explain that so clearly as you tell your story, and we tell that you are a loving person,
Yes.
and that and that your experiences have helped shape you to be even more giving and loving to others. So with that being said, how do people connect with you to get some more, of that, to get up, to be able to take advantage of that, what you have to offer, the strength, the hope, the courage, the forgiveness, all the things?
Well, they can go to my website, which is guidedbywisdom.net. And you know what? I had to change my website because it was my name. And you know what I
Mhm.
realized, Cleo? I don't
Mhm.
want my name associated like that because I was guided by God's wisdom through my entire life. So I
Mhm.
had to shut my old website down, and it was a great website. But I realized that to me, I was promoting myself, and that's not what I wanted.
Mm.
So my
Yeah.
website is guidedbywisdom.net. They can get my books out there. They can send me an email. They can send me a message, or they can email me. More. I'm actually getting ready to shut down some of my social medias because it's too much. And I
Right.
am, but right now I am out there. I'm under Tracey Jefferson, so you can find me on Instagram, Facebook. Um, my I got email Tracey Jefferson 30 at yahoo.com, or my book email is trace is tjs dot I dot silence at gmail.com. I know that's a lot, but you could just go ahead and do guidedbywisdom.net, and then or either just contact me through via Facebook. I'll respond. I do answer my emails. People do send me emails. I do answer them. People send me messages on Instagram. I do respond. And I
Mhm.
had one lady. She had sent me, and she said, "You have a book?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And so I kind of just shared a little bit, and then I think she was, sometimes I kind of think people are shocked that people respond to them. And I'm like, why? I don't look, I'm just like you, an average person. Like you got your podcast. I am no respected person. I love talking, as you can see. But
I know that's
so
right. It's easy
I'm
to find,
messing.
even I.
Yeah. So I was messaging her, and I actually just thanked her. And she was like, "Oh wow." So she said, "You could be my best friend." I said, "We already best friends." And so stuff like that. It brings a smile to my face. But yes, you can go to my website, guidedbywisdom.net. Tracy
Mhm.
Jefferson 30 at yahoo.com is my email address. Instagram, Facebook is all Tracy Jefferson. So I'm simple. I like to keep stuff simple.
All right, that's awesome. And listen, guys, you can also book her to be a speaker at an event. So listen, if you're looking, no matter what you need, whether it's coaching services, whether it's a book, whether it's a journal, or even to get her to come out and speak, because your message is powerful, and it
And
connects with
Cleo,
others.
look, the first 15, 30 minutes is free. I don't only, sometimes I just listen. And
Yeah.
sometimes look, it doesn't cost to ask a question. So I'm not into trying to break people's bank. We all, living paycheck to paycheck or whatever we're doing. So I just want to help. That's all I want to
Right.
do. It's just help somebody. That's all.
And that's an admirable thing, just helping just to help. Not trying to
Yes.
get anything out of someone else. But listen, in order to get that help out there, we also have to collaborate with others, and be open to growing together. And this is what connected you and I together and brought this
Mm-hmm.
show together today, is the need to collaborate with each other, not competing with each other. And like you said, just doing things because it's the right thing to do out of the goodness of your heart to help others. And
Yes.
so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of your day to come on to the Set Yourself Free podcast, sharing your story, and inviting us to think about, where we are right now. Is it working for us? And what changes can we make to be better? So as we close this episode of Set Yourself Free, let me tell you guys, we are reminded through Miss Tracy's story about the power of faith, because her faith and God's compassion is what brought her through. Resilience and the courage it takes to transform our pain into purpose. Miss Tracy Jefferson's journey of surviving domestic violence and moving to becoming a beacon of hope for others is a testament to the strength that is within all of us. So if her story has resonated with you or someone you know, remember you are not alone and help is available. Please check out all the places that she said that you can contact her and start that healing journey. It's time to break the silence, embrace transparency, and make the choice to reclaim our lives. And this is what Set
Yes.
Yourself Free about is all about. It's the ability to reclaim our lives. So again, Miss Tracy, thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom, your vulnerability, your mission with us to empower each and every one of us to live freely and boldly. And thank you, listeners, for joining us today. Thank you for your participation. I know I had some people in the studio with us. Lady Elevation, Makita, thank you guys for joining, and everybody else who is watching out there on all the social media platforms. Thank you all for joining and listening to us, and I invite you to join us next time. If you enjoyed the episode, please don't feel free to follow us. Set yourself free .io and all the social media platforms. So set yourself free. And as we head out, I want to leave you guys with a little bit more about Set Yourself Free podcast. Set Yourself Free, what we do. Thank you, guys.
Cleo, can I say something before we end?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I want to first thank you so very much for this. Guys, if you need a dynamic person, this lady Cleo is phenomenal at her job. So please, 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 please check her out. She's patient, she's kind, and she's definitely a person that you would want to have in your circle. You are such a beautiful person. I love you. I love your kids. Hey, JoJo. And I just thank you so much for inviting me. When you said, look, all you got to do is ask. It's always an honor to do anything for you. So you're just that type of person. I love you so much. And guys, we have never met, but we've met. It's just like we have been friends for years. So Cleo, thank you so very much. I will do anything for you. You call, I'm coming. So thank you for, your platform, and thank you for always inviting me, for being so beautiful and transparent in your work. You make me want to be extra, special in what I do. So thank you. Because remember, I used to call you a lot when I was working, and we talked every day. I miss those conversations. But thank you so very much for your platform and for being an excellent life coach also.
Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing. And like I said, this is what brings it all together for us. The collaboration, the desire to just hear and listen and connect with one another. I feel exactly the same about you, Miss Tracy. I think we were placed on each other's paths for a reason. So let's listen, people. Connect like we did. Connect, collaborate, share, and let's be all great together. So with that being said, let's end with, you guys find out a little bit more about Set Yourself Free.
Welcome to Set Yourself Free Life Coaching. We guide women who are overwhelmed with being emotionally stuck to get unstuck, so they can reach new heights of their full potential. We believe that everyone has the power to create the life they desire, but sometimes we need a little help along the way. That's where we come in. We provide personalized coaching and support to help you overcome your obstacles and achieve your goals. Our coaching program is based on the principles of positive thinking and self-empowerment. We believe that by changing your mindset, you can change your life. We will teach you how to identify and challenge your negative thoughts and replace them with positive ones. We will also help you develop a strong sense of self-worth and confidence. Together, we will create a personalized plan to help you reach your goals. We will work with you on your specific challenges and provide you with the support and motivation you need to succeed. If you are ready to break free from the past and create the life you deserve, then contact us today. We would be honored to help you on your journey.